Welcome to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo, where we blend rock solid tips with a little bit of magic. I'm Renee Bowen, your host, life and business coach, and professional photographer at your service. We are all about getting creative, diving into your business, and playing with manifestation over here. So, are you ready to get inspired and have some fun? Let's dive in. Hey friends, welcome back to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo. I'm your host, Renee Bowen. Today, I've got Dr. Jeffrey Gross on the show, and he is going to talk to us all about stem cells. This is something I have actually been interested in for a really long time. But now in the last 2 years specifically, and all of the updates and just the technology and how amazing this whole subject is really. I have kind of done a deep dive on it, not only for myself and my health benefits, but, for the people in my family. So I am really excited to chat with him today. You guys are going to really, really love this conversation. If you've never heard of stem cell medicine or regenerative medicine, you're in for a treat because he breaks it all down for us. Dr. Jeffrey Gross is the founder of ReCelebrate and a pioneer and a pattern disruptor in the field of regenerative medicine. With a career dedicated to treating a myriad of chronic health problems, Dr. Gross is a sought-after expert transforming thousands of lives by transitioning from traditional surgical methods to the innovative use of stem cells. He is a neurosurgeon, so he has been practicing medicine a very long time, which I find is really, really interesting. I always love when medical professionals are, looking into new and cutting edge things to help us live longer and better lives. Medicine and healthcare are seemingly advancing at the speed of light these days, and some treatments are proving to be real game changers, while others create more confusion than benefit and leave much to be desired. So at ReCelebrate, Dr. Gross offers precise diagnosis and treatment, revealing patients' stem cells' healing power for prolonged health. These cells, when rejuvenated, display powerful anti-aging properties, offering relief and rejuvenation without the need for surgery. So in our chat, Dr. Jeff shares all these insights of the holistic applications of stem cells in healthcare, showcasing their potential in adding generational health to generational wealth. So let's dive in. Hey, Dr. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm really excited about this conversation. We're gonna go deep into some medical stuff, but I know you're going to be able to explain it really well for us. So thanks for being here.
I'm very happy to be here. It's great to talk to you and your audience. Thank you.
You got it. So I want to just jump right in and kind of find out, like, as a doctor, how did your journey in medicine lead you into this, longevity benefits of stem cells and all of that? Because that's a whole different thing.
Right. Well, I was practicing traditional medicine. I'm a neurosurgeon with a spine specialty. I was taking care of neck and back pain and I still do for the vast majority of my career. But it was my patients, many of them, who were in that gap between suffering some type of neck and back pain where the less invasive treatments were inadequate. The injections, the therapies, the medicines, the time, everything they tried just wasn't adequate to fully address their problems. But they didn't find themselves, and I agree with them, bad enough for surgery, which was the only thing left on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
So they would come to me, well, how about this? How about that? How about lasers? How about crystals? How about this? How about stem cells? And you know, my undergraduate background is in that type of molecular biology, cellular biology field, and I was sort of always wanting to get back into that. So it just kind of came together, and instead of going to the same old, stodgy neurosurgery conferences, I started going to stem cell conferences and taking educational courses, continuing education in stem cell biology and regenerative medicine, and I got into it for the spine, but I'm doing so much more now, and I feel like my career is reinvigorated. Every day is exciting and different, and I love it again. I have a renewed sense of enthusiasm.
That's really cool and very important, obviously,
Yeah.
like loving what you do. Because is it because you're seeing such awesome results from people with this? Is that they're having like life-changing results?
In part, but it's seeing the results with, uh, no pharmaceuticals and least
Hmm.
invasion and non-surgically, like all putting that all together, it gives new options for things, and it's creating new projects for me and my patients. So we're working on all kinds of great projects and research too.
That's very cool. So, all right, demystify this whole process for like those of us like I definitely have been looking into stem cells for a while. So, I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but I at least have a little bit of knowledge because I do think that it's fascinating and I'm a big proponent of trying to not go the pharmaceutical route if possible, like, even in terms of like the anti-aging or whatever, quote unquote anti-aging stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not a Botox girl. I don't do fillers, stuff like that. I mean, to each their own. It's just not my thing. So I have definitely been looking into the whole stem cells and I had knee problems. So I was always looking into it there. But I know a lot of people don't really know a lot about this yet. So, let's kind of maybe demystify the science
right.
behind harnessing your own stem cells for health.
Absolutely. So, and stop me if I get too far into it. And we could take this in chunks, but our bodies have stem cells in them, and when we're a fetus, we're all stem cells. We're an embryo, and these stem cells are creating us, and they're developing into different types of tissues and organs and limbs and everything we need. And then when we're born, we're still using those stem cells to create us, and when we're fully grown, we still have stem cells that we use to renew our tissues, that help us heal if we need them, that renew our immune system. I mean, we have these banks of cells. Well, as we age, or the reason why we age is we're exposed to the environment, the world, in what we eat, what we drink, what's in our water, what we're missing in our nutrition, and our body is busy defending against the world, and that's called the inflammatory response. And that inflammation leads to aging. It leads to chronic diseases, and it affects our cells and our stem cells. And our stem cells become less useful in healing or preventing problems, and it's slower to heal. If you look at a 3-year-old who scratches his knee on the sidewalk, and he cries, mom puts a band-aid on it, sends him on his way. A few days later, that band-aid falls off in the bathtub, and the scab is almost healed. Whereas if you do that to a 75 or 80-year-old, that same injury will take weeks to fully heal. And the difference there is cellular, and particularly stem cellular activity. So those stem cells have the ability to renew, to divide, to create and replace tissues. So when we talk about regenerative or stem cell medicine, we're talking about leveraging that knowledge and using it to our advantage to accelerate healing or fight diseases or help with those kinds of things.
Nice. And we can use our own stem cells, correct? Or like, I know there's various types of
You
stem cells.
can use your own, but when you change the oil in your car, you don't put the old oil back in. Now, I say that funny. There are many applications for using your own stem cells, and there are benefits in the literature. Just, if in my view, maybe oversimplified, if you're going to do this, if you're going to jump in and do this, why not use the best, youngest source? And that
Yeah.
comes from ethically donated placenta, umbilical cord, amniotic fluid after a mother delivers by
Okay.
C-section. So we could take away those other myths out there regarding
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really important. I wanted to make sure we covered that. Fun fact, back in 1998, when we had our first son, and it was literally just sort of like, I don't even remember where I got the information, but I was a massage therapist for a while, and I was definitely in the LA holistic scene in the 90s. So I must have come across it at some point where they said, well, you can store the cord blood. You can do your cord blood storage. And back in 1998, that was really new. So it was really inexpensive. Like, I think it only cost us like $300 to get to collect it. And then we are locked in for life at $50 a year at this lab. So we still have his cord blood frozen in a lab. And I'm like, okay, you know, not really sure but at that time they were saying this could cure cancer. Like you could, God
Right.
forbid something happens. You never know, when that would come in handy. And so I was like, well, maybe we should just do it. So we do have it. But I think that's really, and it's interesting because that's my son with autism. So I've always thought, like, I wonder if there's, because I know like there's inflammation in the brain and stuff like that. And he's definitely come a long way. Like he
Right.
works, he has a job,
Right.
he's great. But health wise, I'm like, that might unfortunately come in handy
Absolutely.
one day.
Yeah, I know the reason we did cord blood storage years ago, and you got a great price, by the way.
Yeah.
The reason
Yeah.
we did that was there was a new protocol for treating childhood, leukemias, blood-borne
Yeah.
cancers. And to do that, you have to just kill all their bone marrow, and you have to completely replace it with what's called a bone marrow transplant, which does have to be a match. And we'll come back to that
Yeah.
concept in a second. So the easiest thing to do is have your own bank of hemopoietic stem cells, which is the type of tissue that you put in your bone marrow and it creates your immune system and then your blood cells and that kind of thing. And the easiest
Mm.
way to do that is from your umbilical cord. Now, there are newer uses for your own umbilical cord, right? You can have your own stem cells. There are labs now that will take some of those and grow them in petri dishes to divide and expand them and give them back to you. But you don't need to have a match for most of regenerative medicine. You can have someone else's because the immune system, they don't get identified as foreign because they haven't decided what kind of cell to be yet. So these stem
Mm.
cells are protected or privileged, we should say.
That's really interesting. That's really, really cool. So where you're at, with what you do at ReCelebrate, what do you guys mainly use this technology for? And, what do you see patients for?
So I got into this, as I think I mentioned earlier, to help my patients with spine problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spinal pain and who didn't want surgery. But it's blossomed into first other musculoskeletal structures, and like you said, you've had PRP. PRP is sort of a low-level regenerative
Yeah.
medicine, and then there are a couple steps above, and we do those steps, and they could be stem cells or stem cell signaling factors called exosomes, which maybe we'll get into in a little bit,
Yeah.
and the so we do a lot of joint work and but we also it's blossomed into this whole cell health, cellular health, or cellular metabolism, or anti-inflammatory sort of arena, which really overlaps with anti-aging medicine or longevity medicine, because anything you do that helps fight chronic inflammation, the source of aging and disease, most diseases, uh, then you're helping to live longer and live healthier, not just longer, but good years, healthy quality years. So we're doing IV things. We also have sexual health shots called P shots and O shots with these to help both the men and the ladies. And then we also have some cosmetic things we do for skin rejuvenation and for thinning hair. And I've had some of those back here on my
Oh,
scalp
nice.
as well. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like that, I'm 53, so that stuff is very top of mind for me. And I'm not looking to do a lot of intervention, but if I were, that's the kind of stuff that I feel like would make the biggest difference because it's not that invasive and it's not, like you said, like super pharmaceutical, right? Like, so That
No
and that,
pharmaceutical, all natural. It's
yeah,
as natural as you can get. It's a biologic, right?
I love that. Yeah. I know when we were doing the PRP for my knees, my surgeon was trying to get stem cells, but insurance and stuff like that. So can you talk a little bit or speak to a little bit about how that sort of works? I know that a lot of this isn't obviously super covered by insurance, at least not yet. Maybe that'll
Yeah.
change.
It may change. There are a lot of political and economic influences from big pharma and companies that make, screws and rods to put inside the body.
Yep.
But yeah, because and here's their way out. Because none of the claims are yet approved. You know, the insurance company says, well, we're not going to pay for it, right? It's
Hmm.
all about what they say you can say, or they say you can't say. So just to be upfront, the FDA has not approved any claims, so I can't guarantee that anything here will treat or cure anything. But as a physician, you can never guarantee.
No,
It's a practice, it's a trial. So nonetheless, even PRP, which you've had and maybe insurance helped pay for,
they
is
did.
also
Yeah.
not approved by the FDA for claims. So there you're right. There's a little budge into what they will approve because the insurance companies figured out that PRP is potentially more effective and less expensive than jumping to surgery. Not that
Hmm.
there's a role for surgery for some folks, of course, there will always be that, but you know, they looked at the cost savings because at the end of the day, that's all they really care about. So insurance does not yet cover any of this unless you have what's called an HSA plan or health savings account plan, where you, as you should be able to, control the flow of your healthcare dollars.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I do think that, like you said, it's kind of ever changing and we'll have to see kind of how that goes. But I do think it's fascinating because a doctor that I know has said that he has seen people like literally just not need anything else after this. And that's the other part of it is that it gets you better. So there's that. That's, big pharma doesn't love that.
We can't guarantee or claim it, but I have the same experience as your
Yeah.
friend because we have. I'm amazed sometimes by the
Hmm.
simplicity and the results.
Yeah, that's what I've heard kind of across the board. So that's really interesting. Is it a one size fits all sort of approach? Like when someone comes to see you, obviously, as a doctor, I'm sure it's not just like a, hey, here's what we're going to do for you. And it's just like everybody else.
No, no, we really like to use what's called precision medicine and individualize the care, even if you do end up with something that's the person next to you ends up with. We want to make sure that the person is optimized in their inflammatory state. That means their diet is good, their sleep is good, their nutritional gap, meaning supplements are ideal. Maybe hormone optimization is in place because if we're going to deliver these regenerative biologics, we want the body and the cells to be most receptive so you get the best benefit. So there's a lot of work to do ahead of time, quite a bit.
Yeah. Now I know you're located in Las Vegas. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you get people who do visit you from everywhere, but are you seeing like if someone is interested in this, let's just say, like if someone listening is interested in pursuing some sort of regenerative medicine in this way, whether it's for, like we were talking about, joint related stuff or anti-aging, what would be their first step in finding someone? And what should they look for and like vet the people who are doing it? Because I know there are going to be some people popping up doing
Yeah.
this and got to make sure
No,
it's legit.
it's a great question. So do your homework. You can do this online. Now, the only caution there is a lot of the places outside the U.S. Have been doing this longer, but they're not. They don't have to be cautious with claims. And you see a lot of websites that say we cure diabetes and things like that. So just be cautious and do your homework. And look at the different type of regenerative biologics they have experience with. Is it PRP? Is it stem cells? And where do they get those cells from? That's important. And do they expand those cells? I'll come back to that if you want. And then the the last regenerative and probably the most advanced regenerative biologic are called exosomes. And exosomes are small, not that cells aren't, but it's even smaller grouped signaling factors that are used for cell-to-cell communication. And those end up being, at the end of the day, really what's doing the work. So we jump ahead and use most of our patients receive exosomes. They travel further in the body, they penetrate tissue better, they last longer, they're easier to handle, and they're half the price of the cells.
Oh, okay. Talk to me about that. And also, like you said, lasting longer. So like how long on average do you see them last? Like, is this something you have to continue doing?
Well, the goal with, let's take a joint because it's probably our most popular thing to do. A lot of knee problem, people trying to avoid surgery. We
Yeah.
see, bone on bone, osteoarthritis, wearing and tearing of the meniscus, that kind of thing for a knee, for example. So something like that, the goal is to do it one injection and be done. So there's an initial anti-inflammatory benefit. People have improvement in pain and function right away. And then it usually takes months for them to see the cartilage begin to restore. And we do have really cool examples of MRIs we've done later just to see where the thickness of the cartilage is improved. So this you don't hear about this from your neighborhood orthopedic doctors. And the problem is that, and I was that guy, right? I was trained in the 90s by people who were trained in the 60s and 70s. And we were doing the same thing that they were doing, 50, 60 years earlier, because not a lot moves forward unless someone takes a leap or a jump. So when you find these doctors in your area who are doing regenerative medicine, make sure they have the full experience where they've done the old stuff and they know the difference between this newer biology and they understand the biology of it.
Yeah, that's very important. So yeah, I definitely can see the benefits there as far as, because I was definitely in that place. I was nowhere. Like my surgeon was like, you're too young for a double knee replacement, but that's exactly where you're headed. And, my mom has bad knees. I've got bad knees. My mom did just have a double knee replacement, but she's a lot older. And I didn't want to go that route. So I was like, okay, like what else can I do? Like I just started looking at all of these different things. So the PRP was like the one that was able to help me just at least get it
Yeah.
sort of under control. But stem cells are definitely at the top of my list. Like I said, I mean, they have helped my knees tremendously. The inflammation is like night and day. And that was even 2 years ago. So that's good because PRP doesn't normally last. And sometimes it doesn't even take, you know what I mean? Because like you said, it's like a low level, not as robust as what you guys are doing. So I definitely still would like to do that. I'm getting some arthritis in my thumbs. That's also on my list.
Right.
And like I said, let's talk a little bit about the anti-aging stuff because that to
Sure.
me and I think a lot of people in my audience are going to find that interesting. What as far as like skin stuff, right? Does it help actually regrow collagen? Like what
Yeah.
does it do? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it improves collagen production and elastin production. So you have both structure and elasticity. It also improves the skin health because it stimulates your dermal cells that make the epidermis. So it's more hydrated skin, better looking skin, smoother skin. It helps fight against fine lines and wrinkles and pigmentation because healthy, melanin producing cells will be more uniform. So you have more uniform skin color. Um, and if for hair, it'll stimulate, if you have follicles, it'll stimulate the follicular health as well. And we've seen this in some patients, the color of your hair, because the follicle usually has associated pigment cells, melanin producing cells, and if you catch those and they haven't died, they haven't gone into complete senescence, you can help reduce the inflammation and improve their function basically. So we can't take a bald person and grow hair with what we have available to us. Now there are new kinds of stem cells that are being worked on called induced pluripotent stem cells. Those are, too experimental for us to feel safe using them in this setting, but they may be able to restore follicles. So we have new things coming. We're just scratching the surface, really.
That is really exciting. That's very, very cool. Like, I know, just like going through menopause and stuff, definitely have gotten thinner hair. So you're saying that people who like before, if you catch the hair before it goes gray, you can actually stop it
We've
from
actually
doing that?
seen some reversal, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, and I have to tell you, one of my favorite stories is one of our nurses here in the office brought her father in from out of town. He was over 80, I believe, and he was just sort of losing his energy. So we did an anti-aging IV on him, and he had all kinds of benefits, and his gray hair started to turn black.
From the
So,
IV? Just
yeah.
one IV?
All right, one IV.
Okay, well, you're only like 3.5 hours from me in Vegas, so I will be coming to see you.
That doesn't happen with everybody, but it is amazing, and it just
Yeah.
shows you the power of what or the damage that inflammation is doing to us, and the power of fighting that inflammation.
Yeah, that is inflammation is so huge. Like, wow, that's real. I didn't realize that stem cells dealt with that. Like, I didn't realize that was part of it. And inflammation, you hear that all the time. I mean, that's definitely because I have Hashimoto's. So, if you have an autoimmune disease of any
Well, oh,
kind,
this
like,
is
yeah,
a deal. So you think about it, cells have two main programming modes. They're either in defense mode, which is inflammatory, because it calls for the immune system. That's the inflammation. We're always fighting against our environment. Or in an autoimmune, you have a hyperinflamed state that you didn't ask for, that got triggered. Or you have this optimally functioning mode, which involves cell repair and it's anti-inflammatory, right? You're making antioxidants. Most of our repair our cells do at night. So people that don't sleep as much have more inflammation, or don't sleep restoratively have more inflammation. So as an example, but you're absolutely right. We need to use whatever we can to keep ourselves away from the inflammatory programming.
yeah, it's huge. I've just seen I mean, like, I've reduced my inflammation so much in just the last 2 years, and it's made an incredible impact on my health, like incredible. So I believed it before, but I've actually experienced it across the board. So like even just with diet, people listening, like there's a lot of ways you can reduce your inflammation as well. But this, I had no idea it really actually
Yeah.
did all of that as well. So do you guys I'm sure it's probably a whole array of things, but like as far as like the aesthetics, yeah, you have IVs, obviously, but do you do like injections and facials and all of that kind of stuff too, or
No, we're not really like an aesthetics. We don't do facials and the kind of thing you
okay.
get from your usual esthetician, but we can do the medical side of it. So we will do
Mm,
the micro injection. So we have a micro injector. We numb the face, and we'll put exosomes and some hyaluronic acid serum and inject the face and wherever you need it. And similarly, we inject the scalp for the thinning hair. Um, and then the joint work is actually done at an injection facility with a little sedation. We do
okay.
spine and joints there. And then everything else is IV, which we can do in the office.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was like that accessible. So that's really good to know. Okay, so what would you say to people who are skeptics about this?
Well, I was a skeptic until about 6 years ago, when I finally decided to jump into it and get involved. So it's typical. It's part of the Kool-Aid. It's what we've been indoctrinated. It's what a doctor who's been trained, 5, 10 years or earlier will say. So most physicians, including myself at the time, I was saying, well, it's not really here yet. It's coming. It's interesting. But when you look at the literature, and most of the literature, the medical literature, comes from Europe and Asia. They have 15 and 20-year follow-up studies. They've been doing this for 2 decades with success. So all the protocols that we follow are founded in science, and protocols that have been done and proven and shown safe and effective results.
Nice. Okay, so um tell people like what would you so if someone's just like on this journey and they're like, okay, I'm definitely interested, what would be the first step for someone? Obviously, we said, do your research, but um, where can people find you, learn more about Recelebrate? What would be their next step in that process?
Yeah, no, well, I love to meet new people, so we do plenty of remote and online Zoom consultations, just like
Oh,
this, right?
nice.
We get to know people, we go through their lives, medical problems, we go through their supplements, their diet, their sleep, their exercise regimen. We try to help them, you know, take advantage of tips and missing elements there. We talk about hormone optimization, and for both men and women. And that could be for women even before menopause.
Yeah.
And men now in their 30s and 40s are doing it. So and we can talk about peptides and other things that are sort of cutting edge and controversial. They're only controversial, of course, because of the regulation that are imposed upon them, but they're worthy of discussion. There are peptides are small protein fragments that can help our body function, heal, and do what it was designed to do or used to do better. For example, we've all heard of Ozempic or semaglutide. That's a
Yeah.
peptide,
Yeah.
right? We take melatonin at night. That's a peptide.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of peptides. So there are many more peptides that are not sort of readily available, however.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they can be obtained. And then, if someone's a candidate, we'll discuss the options for regenerative medicine, whether it be for a knee or a shoulder or a toe or what have you, a spine problem. And if we can confirm the source of the problem and match it up with some really good MRI images and correlate the pain to the problem and the problem to the pain, then we might offer something injectable for that. Not everyone's a candidate. Uh, I have more confidence in talking to some people about the results I would want to see compared to others based on their MRI or how bad things are. But most of the joint work is we try to do in one injection. But if it's really bad and 6 or 12 months later they're not exactly where they want to be, we can look at it again. That's not impossible. We
Yeah.
just we invite people out to here to the office, which is in Henderson, Nevada, outside Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
when people are candidates and want to make the trip. And we've had a lot of people don't mind coming to Vegas, spend the weekend, have a dinner, see a show, and then we'll take care of things here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and letting us know about all this. This is like really exciting stuff. And I feel like it's just going to grow like really fast and exponentially, hopefully, because I feel like it's like we were talking about before, non-invasive, natural,
Yeah.
um, just such a great solution, I think, across the board. So thank you so much for filling
Yeah,
us
my
in.
pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I don't know about you guys, but I found that incredibly interesting. And I'm not joking. I absolutely will be going to see him. As a girl who doesn't do Botox or fillers, I can absolutely get on board with this. And I really do think that, as far as like the longevity of the results, yeah, I'm sold. I'd rather do this, even if it costs more up front than go and do Botox every 6 months. I'm not saying that doing Botox is bad. You do you. Like, it's just not for me. So this seems kind of cool. I'm definitely going to be checking into it. And, as somebody who has had like incredibly bad knee pain and was told that, I needed surgery, to just see the results I had from PRP, I can only imagine the results from stem cells. So I am absolutely looking into that for my thumbs. I don't know about you guys, but like my thumbs, and I know it's overuse in addition to camera, because I'm always holding the camera, right? And it's heavy. Um, I think it's the phone and the computer. Both of my thumbs have just gone to hell basically in the last probably year and a half, and they're getting worse. So I had spoken to my doctor about that a little while ago, and even he was like, "Yeah, you need to look into some stem cells because that'll absolutely fix it." So yes, sign me up. Anyway, I hope this was really insightful and interesting for you guys. And I have all the information on how you can get in touch with Dr. Jeff below if you're interested in going to see him or doing a consult on Zoom. So all of that is going to be there for you guys. And I look forward to chatting with you guys, seeing you guys soon. Have a great week. Love you. Bye.